Hello and welcome to another episode of #DisruptionDialogues, a Markets and Markets podcast series for growth-minded strategy, market intelligence, and competitive intelligence professionals. Today our host Pranjal Sharma is in discussion with Nageswar Cherukupalli, Senior Vice President and Sales Head, Financial Services and Insurance at Infosys.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Disruption Dialogues. I'm Pranjal Sharma. I'm an author based in New Delhi, India. And today I'm going to be in discussion with Nageswar Cherukupalli. Thank you, Nagesh, for joining us today.
Thanks, Pranjal. Thank you very much for inviting me for this podcast, and definitely excited to share some of my thoughts in this podcast. And thank you very much.
So the idea to discuss today is about the impact of Web 3.0 and Metaverse in financial services. Now, that's actually pretty interesting because when people think of Metaverse, usually you think about physical aspect of it. You talk about holograms, virtual lives, etc. But help us understand, what are the applications you see for Metaverse and Web 3.0 in financial services? Because for me, that's the exciting, interesting aspect. I'm pretty curious about it.
Absolutely. No, thanks, Pranjal, for asking. So, I thought there are quite a few things that people are talking about, in terms of Metaverse and Web 3.0. I'll first start with, what exactly is this Metaverse, right? It's fundamentally the way we define Metaverse is, the seamless digital experience across the virtual and the real world, right? It's about creating that seamless digital experience. And the reason why we've got words, you will have different avatars of yourself in a digital world and in a physical world. And that's what will help you in terms of engaging with the various stakeholders within, that you work with, right? So I think that's how this whole concept of words has evolved, and each of the platform would show your different avatar, right? So that's what we call it as Metaverse. But fundamentally, Metaverse has always been there, right? I mean, we used to call it as augmented reality and virtual reality. It's been there for many years. Just that as the web technologies have evolved, we've got this new concept of Web 3.0, and Metaverse definitely plays a significant portion within this whole Web 3.0.
So, you've explained to us already what Metaverse is, but the question for me is, how does Metaverse apply to financial services?
Yes. So Metaverse definitely has a lot of use cases in the financial services realm, right? Just to talk about a few examples or something that we have heard in the recent past, right? Some of the early adopters, like what JP Chase has done. I mean, this is something that we have seen in the news, right? They've actually set up a virtual branch in Metaverse, and they are trying to bring some of their clients, and this is more of a demonstration of the capability in Metaverse. But, going forward, this probably would become a norm for most of the millennials and the new age consumers, right? They would actually want to interact more in Metaverse and get advice and get their financial transactions to happen in the Metaverse, right? So JP Morgan has started their digital launch in the virtual platform, right? Similarly, there are other banks like the Bank of America, Goldman Sachs. Most of them have started, experimenting and embarking on this journey. But there are a few use cases, right? I mean, beyond financial advisory, beyond having the virtual banks, there are a few use cases that are definitely relevant. And most of those today are being used for in-house, right? It is whether collaborating with other employees, collaborating with leadership, or in the process of hiring and onboarding. There are quite a few use cases that are being leveraged. And also, more importantly, for some of the training and upskilling. And we have seen many banks using this extensively for training and upskilling their financial advisors.
So, what are the advantages for a company to deliver this in Metaverse? And conversely, what are the advantages for a consumer to have a service or advice delivered in the Metaverse?
Absolutely. Now, the big advantage for the bank is, one, they are now able to work with some of the new age clients, right? It is about working with the millennials that are out there who definitely would have got an experience or have been working in using these technologies, Web 3.0, extensively. And for them, it is always beneficial to interact in Metaverse. The second important thing is advisory traditionally is always been something that was done physically, right? It was a financial advisor meeting the client and trying to explain in terms of their understand their requirements and also explain in terms of the products and offerings that the bank has. But today, things have changed significantly. There are technologies available where this interaction can actually move to a virtual world, and Metaverse significantly helps in that interaction. It also helps in terms of analyzing the portfolio in the virtual environment and ability to show the various pros and cons of investing in certain portfolio or trying to move between the portfolios, right? So that's, I think, something that is enabled by these Web 3.0 and Metaverse technologies, and that's a big advantage both from a bank perspective and also from an end user perspective.
Are you referring to, Nagesh, about data visualization? Are you talking about that while they see what is happening, perhaps they can even transact or experiment or get a feel of it? Is that immersive experience in financial trading or financial transaction something that is going to get a lot of traction?
Absolutely. It's a combination, right? It's about interacting with the client and also ability to showcase in terms of that immersive experience on how things have changed with different anomalies or different parameters being introduced, right? And today, traditional data visualization is actually a 2D modeling. I mean, in most cases, we only know the relation between X, Y, and Z axis, but Metaverse actually gives you that additional capability of visualizing in a third and a fourth dimension and introducing additional parameters that would actually provide us a more immersive experiences.
And I'm assuming, Nagesh, that an immersive experience in financial services also lends itself to better understanding of some of the complex and complicated financial instruments, which often consumers find it difficult to grasp. But perhaps this immersive experience is making it easy. Is that how it's playing out?
It's absolutely making it easy. It is making it easy for the advisors to help the clients understand, and it is making easy for clients to understand these various products, the financial products, and how to leverage these products depending on their financial situation, right? And there is more conversation and there is more connection between the advisor and the end user. It's no longer a black box, right? I mean, typically most of the end users do not understand what's happening in the markets and how their portfolio is responding and why it is responding the way it is responding. So with these new technologies, it becomes so much more easy for the advisor to explain and the end user to understand.
Nagesh, tell us about what Infosys is doing about it. Are there examples or products or modeling that you have done using Metaverse?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. No, we have been working in this technology, specifically in the AR, VR for many, many years. I don't know how much you're familiar with the Infosys tennis platform that's extensively used across many of our, many of the ATP tournaments, right, for the last 5 to 6 years. Now, we've actually extended that to many of the financial services use cases and also built something called as a Metaverse Foundry. So this is the Metaverse Foundry that we have built is basically something that we are using for many of our clients to bootstrap, to sort of help them quickly deploy use cases. There are readily available accelerators and assets within this Metaverse Foundry that can be leveraged for, there's one client who recently wanted help in launching a training platform for their financial advisors. And we've been able to do it from start to finish in about 6 weeks, leveraging Infosys Metaverse Foundry. And similarly, there are other clients who actually wanted to leverage some of the advisory solutions that are being offered, right? Similar to what JPMC is doing. And, Metaverse Foundry actually helps in building those quickly and launching those in an accelerated fashion.
So where has it worked the best? Do you see global companies do it? Do you think there is application only for high net worth individuals? Do you see it happening in emerging economies? Are there any early signs of where this could have maximum impact?
So today, if I see the way things are evolving and how it's being leveraged, I would say that every industry, every segment, every geography, I think there are pilots and POCs that are happening. And we have actually requests from clients across all of the geos, right? More so in the Asia Pacific region. Indeed, we are seeing, many of the banks who have shown extensive interest. And also some of the emerging economies like the Africa or some of the even in India, where we have seen many of the banks have come back and said if they will be able to do some pilot using our in Infosys Metaverse property.
I think here, especially for financial services, the impact that you get from local languages is also an important dimension. I am hoping and assuming that Web 3.0 is enabling that to be able to communicate to potential consumers about what they should be, how they should be managing the portfolio in a language that they understand. Is that an important factor in the success?
It's definitely a very important factor. It's no longer restricted to the advisor knowing the local language. There are technologies available that provide the seamless translation and a seamless experience, irrespective of the language that the advisor speaks or the language that the end user understands. And that definitely plays a significant role in some of the folks that earlier did not have access to these investments coming and jumping onto this bandwagon.
In your view, Nagesh, you had deep experience in this, and as things evolve and develop so rapidly, I am also seeing a level of customization, because for each individual, their financial needs are fairly unique to them. It could be a factor of their demographics, their context, their income levels, their risk factors, their own goals and objectives. And sometimes the broader options available are not satisfactory. So is there a way that you see customization being enabled by the models that you're creating?
That's probably going to be the next stage of evolution in terms of customizing some of these products to specific clients. Today, the financial organizations do have the capability, but they are still trying to understand how do we create those products that are quite unique for each of those clients, right, that they work with. And once they understand the client's behavior, once they understand the ability to manage or create these unique offerings for, that are customized to each clients, they should be able to do it. I mean, one of the biggest bottleneck that many of these clients have got is the legacy environment. Right, today, they are saddled with this legacy environment, the mainframes that they have. And the only way they can create these customized offerings is to actually move onto a more modernized microservices-based architecture. And I think cloud definitely would play a big role in that, right? So as clients start moving more and more towards cloud environment, I think that's when we start seeing some of these customization and extensive usage of Metaverse and Web 3.0 technologies.
Finally, Nagesh, I want to know, there have been concepts of robo-advisories and such. So there is going to be a big evolution in that. What is the advice that you give to your clients and perhaps even to friends and family who are on the other side? How should they be prepared to deal with this new evolving landscape?
I think the best thing is to actually look for, some of these traditional banks as they start offering these solutions. Start experimenting some of those things before actually jumping into those, understanding the nuances of not just the technology, but also understand in terms of what is the investment thesis and how these banks are leveraging technology to offer these products. Right, and then start experimenting, in a small scale, right? I mean, we've done the same thing with robo-advisory. When many of the clients have started moving from the traditional advisory-based approach to a robo solutions, they actually started experimenting initially before they fully jumped into those solutions. But today, there are also limitations in what can be offered through a robo-advisory. So I think with these new technologies, some of those limitations will be eliminated. And I guess the best approach would be to start experimenting, looking at how things work out, and then start jumping full scale into these solutions as they're offered by the banks.
Thank you, Nagesh. Thanks for sharing those insights with us. I think there is a lot for us to be ready for and to be excited about.
Thank you very much, Pranjal. Thanks for inviting me.
And thanks to everybody who was listening in. I was in conversation with Nageswar Cherukupalli. He is the Senior Vice President and Sales Head, Financial Services and Insurance at Infosys. Please stay tuned for more such interesting discussions on Disruption Dialogues in the future.
Thank you for listening to #Disruption Dialogues. If you are a strategy or market intelligence professional, we invite you to join our community on LinkedIn, #Disruption Dialogues.